We made it to 33 earlier today, but now back below freezing. And tonight, a hard freeze warning in effect. Just how cold it could get.
The entire city of Austin under a boil water notice.
It's going to be a multi-day process to restore pressure and service.
What officials say needs to happen for Austin Water to be fully operational. Many Central Texans still without food and supplies.
I don't know how easily it would be to prepare for something this ongoing.
How you can get help finding the resources you need. CBS Austin News at 10 starts now. One crisis replaces another tonight. Statewide power outages are down to thousands as ERCOT announces an end to mandatory blackouts. Now, millions are without access to water. The lack of power jeopardized drinking systems statewide. Boil water notices reach at least 7 million Texans tonight. Busted pipes and trickling water pressure bring the total experiencing water disruptions to more than 14 million. Officials warn this issue will last for days.
The extreme weather is blamed for at least 49 deaths tonight here in the South. The crisis is far from over. Many now struggling to find food. Face still dangerous roadways tonight. Freezing temperatures tonight are quickly turning once cleared roadways into impassable sheets of ice. A lot of crashes tonight. Chief Meteorologist Chicago Windler is tracking this historic storm in Chicago. A final round of winter weather is possible tonight.
That's right. That final round would be in the form of extreme cold. Temperatures down into the teens by early tomorrow. And that's the worst case scenario with the pipe busting potential, because many areas could potentially see that happen all over again. Here we are. We made it to 33. We saw a lot of melting earlier today, and now we've gone down to 27 degrees. That's on the heels of snow. A trace in Austin, but Del Rio picked up 11.2 inches officially out of that storm today. It's already down to 24 in Burnett, 29 at the airport, 27 in Giddings, and skies which had been cloudy all day long have cleared out. Winds also are dropping, so a hard freeze warning is in effect. Lows in the teens. Protect people, pets, any plants that have managed to survive, and especially pipes. In those areas where you're allowed to drip, that's a great idea. If you're told not to drip your faucets, then at least open those cabinets up to prevent potential damage. Why so cold, and record cold at that? Because the combination of clear skies and light winds plus that fresh snow cover around, it kind of adds one little extra element. So when you wake up in the morning, 15 in Mason, 18 in Burnett, 17 in Georgetown, 20 in Giddings, and 18 here in Austin, the record is 24, set back in 1978. Now, I know we saw earlier in the week even colder temperatures, but this is just about the last straw for some. Ahead in your CBS Austin 7-Day, I'm tracking when we not only climb out of the cold, but stay that way.
Winter storms are now triggering boil water notices throughout Central Texas tonight. More than 30 communities in Central Texas are being told to bring their water to a rolling boil before drinking or cooking, among them the entire city of Austin. This marks just the second boil water notice issued in the city's history and comes less than 3 years after the first in 2018.
Thousands of Austinites are without water to boil. Austin Water provided an update on that situation today. CBS Austin's Melanie Barden is live with a timeline for when people can expect their water to be restored. Melanie?
Yeah, thousands of Austinites are dealing with this problem right here, turning on their faucets and nothing is coming out. Today, we did get an update from Austin Water. We asked several times, how long is this going to last? How much longer do people need to deal with this? They said they don't have a definitive timeline, but people need to be prepared to have no water for days.
Everybody's been filling up coolers with water, filling up your trash cans with snow and boiling it on the stove. And that's how you're having to use the toilet facilities.
And Chris Dobbs-Otto considers herself lucky to have electricity. But since 9 o'clock Wednesday morning, she and her Southwest Austin neighbors have no access to water.
All they keep telling us is to boil water. Well, that's great. We don't have water. Half the people don't have the ability to even boil anything because they don't have electricity.
Chris is one of tens of thousands of Austinites in the same situation. She says the biggest frustration is lack of information.
We never imagined a day where hospitals wouldn't have water, large segments of our customer base wouldn't have water.
Thursday, Austin Water Director Greg Mazzaros said the city has used all of the water in its reservoirs. Now the goal is to produce enough water to fill those reservoirs back up, increase water pressure, and test the water for purity. With thousands of leaks throughout the system, he's warning Austinites it could take days, not hours, for water to be restored.
Encourage customers to reach out to friends and neighbors and others that may have water service, and that they can maybe fill up jugs or other sources of water for them to boil or to use.
But for Austinites like Chris, that's not possible as roads remain impassable, store shelves are empty, and neighbors deal with pipe bursts and leaks themselves.
Now we're happy when it snows because we know we're going to at least have some, fresh water to boil and to be able to use our toilets.
The city of Austin says they've ordered water to be delivered from out of state, which they say will take a while to get here. In the meantime, Chris says she and her neighbors would like more accountability, communication, and information to get through the storm.
This is not political for us. This is personal and survival.
And officials say there are several things you can do right now to prepare for when your water does get turned back on. The first thing is to make sure that all of your faucets are turned off. They say it's also good to know where your water valve is, so that way if you have any leaks or bursts in your pipes, when the water comes back on, you can easily turn it off to prevent flooding. Reporting live, Melanie Barden, CBS Austin News.
Thanks, Melanie. Frozen and broken pipes are extending campus closures. Austin ISD says many of their schools are dealing with some form of water disruption right now. The district will be closed at least until next week.
The statewide water crisis is forcing city leaders to ship in bottled water from across the nation. City leaders say at least 2 truckloads will arrive tomorrow while working to put together a mass distribution plan. They also warn icy roads are delaying more shipments from arriving any sooner. Tonight, major roadways are beginning to ice over again as wrecks pile up area-wide. In just the last few hours, at least 3 18-wheeler crashes have shut down I-35. The first happening near Ben White in southeast Austin, another jackknife in Round Rock, closing the highway near University Boulevard. The third just an hour ago shut down I-35 at McNeil Road. This is a live look at the slick roads tonight. The Public Works Department is urging people not to drive tonight. They're focused on treating 196 miles of priority routes, but are only doing 1 lane in each direction. The city says only 4-wheel drive vehicles can safely navigate this kind of condition tonight.
The dangerous roads are affecting Texas's supply chain. Today, people in search of food overwhelmed the stores that opened, many finding barren shelves. CBS Austin's Brittany Ford reports some waited hours to get inside.
A line wrapped around an entire strip mall.
We've been in line 30 minutes. Since 11:15. I've been in line going on 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Central Texans grateful to pick up whatever they could get.
A little bit of meat, some bread, water, milk. It was like milk for my baby boy. He's a month old. I need groceries and meat for my other kids and my family at home.
As supplies run low.
What do we have left?
We've got some water bottles, a few.
2 cans of soup.
Yeah.
That was the case at several HEB locations that were able to open Thursday, only able to offer limited products to help keep their shelves stocked.
Anything, we'll take anything we can get at the moment.
Hardware stores were also wiped out of plumbing supplies and tools. The aftermath of thousands of people dealing with broken pipes and leaks. And back over at HEB.
Hopefully we get in there and there's still some stuff left, but worth a shot.
The store was forced to close early to help keep up with demand. But it's in times like these, people say,
well, just make the best of the situation like we always would, man. That's all we left with. Make the best of the situation.
Brittany Ford, CBS Austin News.
The Texas military is now helping dig out HEB warehouses to boost supplies. Mayor Steve Adler tonight said the National Guard is working with the grocery chain right now to safely get goods from Temple and San Antonio into Austin. It's part of a massive undertaking right now statewide. State leaders say they're loading C-130s and helicopters full of water, cots, and blankets for shipments across Texas. Tonight, more than 92% of Austin Energy customers have power again. That means about 39,000 customers are still in the cold and in the dark. CBS Austin's Melanie Torrey explains where we are now that the city is no longer restricted by ERCOT's demands.
Austin Energy says ERCOT is not ordering them to keep the power off, and that's the good news. But turning it back on isn't as simple as flipping a switch, so some people do have a wait ahead. Austin Energy says their crews are out working right now and will continue working 24/7 until all power is restored. However, they cannot definitively say when everyone's power will be back because they have so much work to do. Currently, ice accumulation is making a dangerous job more difficult, and they're working as quickly and safely as they can.
So just like we had to bring circuits down controlled, we have to bring circuits back up controlled. As we're doing that, we're identifying additional hazards or situations that weren't known when the system wasn't energized because they weren't creating problems.
Those with power are once again urged to conserve it, and those without power are being asked to unplug as many devices as possible to avoid a surge when circuits come back online. Austin Energy says it is possible with changing weather conditions that ERCOT could mandate outages once again. But they say as long as that requirement isn't as excessive as it was this week, they could utilize true rotating outages. Reporting in Northwest Austin, Melanie Torrey, CBS Austin News.
A massive fire in San Antonio, the winter weather issue that turned the complex into a tinderbox. Ted Cruz now calls going on vacation a mistake.
Of course, I understand why people are upset.
The long-term consequences political analysts say Cruz's Cancun trip will have.
And today was the last winter storm, snow that mainly dropped heavy accumulations to our south. Now we're watching high pressure push in, and with that, the potential of some extremely cold overnights. Tracking that plus the big thaw coming up.
A massive fire is burning tonight in San Antonio as crews say frozen hydrants are forcing them to have to shuttle in water to fight those huge flames. Firefighters say this started around 1 this afternoon. They believe the apartment complex had been out of water for days because of the storm. Since they're unable to use the fire hydrants, they started trucking in water, and hours later that fire is still burning tonight, with hundreds of people being evacuated to a nearby high school. In Austin, firefighters believe an oven left on when the power first went out is behind an East 7th Street fire. They say when electricity returned to the home, the oven turned back on, then sending flames all throughout the house. The fire department has responded to thousands of calls due to this winter storm.
Promising aid for Texas on Capitol Hill today. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says an investigation is ahead. She called the state's dire situation, quote, predictable, claiming better weatherization of Texas's infrastructure is needed. Now the Energy and Commerce Committee is preparing to look into how Texas could have done better. Governor Greg Abbott now wants President Biden to issue a major disaster declaration for Texas. The move would open FEMA aid for those who need it. CBS Austin Jordan Bonke was with the governor today, who says more challenges are still ahead for Texans. Jordan?
Yeah, there's about 13 million Texans that have their water impacted in some way, shape, or form, or they may not even have water at all. This time yesterday, it was about 7 million Texans. It's increased substantially in just 24 hours. Many are dealing with a boil water advisory like we are right here in Austin due to compromised water treatment plants from power outages, broken or frozen pipes, or just high demand from so many people trickling their water over the past several days. The challenge now is getting water treated for bacteria, which we're told by the Texas Commission for Environmental Quality takes 24 hours. And the governor is adding to his emergency items this legislative session to make power plants go through modern winterization and also find funding to make that happen. The governor today hammered ERCOT, saying that they were not prepared for this winter storm.
ERCOT failed on each of these measures that they said they had undertaken. Texans deserve answers about why these shortfalls occurred and how they're going to be corrected, and Texans will get those answers.
Well, the House and Senate, they will start their investigation into ERCOT next week. That's here locally for the state legislature. If that disaster declaration is granted by the federal government, FEMA assistance could be granted then to Texans. We're live tonight. Jordan Bonnke, CBS Austin News.
Now your Storm Tracker weather with Chief Meteorologist Chicago Wendler.
Tonight, the biggest issues are not going to be wintry precipitation. The last of the snow down to our south has pretty much dissipated, but instead, now that skies are clearing, winds are light, and there's fresh snow, ice on the ground, cold temperatures. It's going to be a really rough one and potentially a pipe-bursting cold event going on tonight. Also, icy conditions on roadways. You can see this from one of our tower cams. An accident appears due to icy conditions on the roads. Travel not advised because even though we hit 33 earlier, everything has refrozen. Just not safe out there. 27 currently. Our high barely crept up to 33. Currently, you can see skies have cleared across the Austin area. Still a couple of flurries floating through San Antonio where 2 to 4 inches of snow fell. That snow tapering, high pressure moving in, and you know what, by tomorrow, sunshine is here. But today, it was all about snow. Del Rio setting an all-time record, not just for today, but in any day, any calendar day, 11.2 inches. Canyon Lake, 5 inches. San Marcos, 2.5. Austin, just a trace. Temps right now, 24 in Burnett, one of the coldest spots, feeling like 14. And overnight tonight, we fall into the teens. At the same time, we did break that freezing streak. At 4 o'clock today, we barely nudged up to 33. 144 consecutive hours of freezing temperatures, unprecedented. The old record, 140 back in 1983. So tonight, we're all under a hard freeze warning. Basically, that means not just around 32, but instead into the teens, and that is enough to burst pipes. Many plants have already been sacrificed. Please keep pets inside and safe. Here's why we're expecting such cold temperatures. Skies clearing, winds turning light, and then the extra ingredient, fresh snow cover. That is basically what's going to mean we could see 15 in Mason, 17 in Georgetown, 18 here in Austin, and 21 in LaGrange. In fact, here's one computer model giving you an idea how temperatures could even be colder for areas like Bastrop, Giddings, and LaGrange by morning with single-digit wind chills not out of the question. What about thawing out? We could hit around 32. By lunchtime, high temperatures, upper 30s to around 40 degrees. So we are going to see some significant melting by tomorrow afternoon under brilliantly sunny skies. So the next thing is going to be watching what could be a rapid melting of the snow and ice, which isn't necessarily advised. Reason being, we've got so much out there that has to go somewhere. So warm weather worries would be possible flooding. If that ice and that snow, it has to go somewhere, so it's going to run off. And if storm drains are clogged, for instance, it could cause some flooding. Likewise for things like ice dams. If you've got a bunch of icicles hanging off your rooftop from your gutter, for instance, you may want to clear those icicles off, because if the weight there starts to really collect, as we see those thawing temperatures, you could either have a collapse or maybe some of that moisture seeps into your attic or down through your walls. Also, any frozen pipes, when they thaw, will also potentially result in additional flooding. Meantime, temperatures, not necessarily going to be warmer than normal for our area, but we are trending, at least by the end of next week, into the 70s, which will at least be more like what we're used to here in Central Texas.
Ted Cruz now calls his Cancun vacation a mistake, what he claims guided his decision to cut the trip short. As Austin races to restore its water utilities tonight, they say the focus is on making sure strained hospitals have what they need. St. David's says all 4 of their area hospitals are under Austin's boil water notice. Mobile water trucks are coming in to help keep 2 locations with lost water pressure going. So far, St. David's says it has enough water and supplies to maintain safe operations. They call the inability to discharge patients due to dangerous roads and outages their greatest challenge. Welcoming donations, water issues at Dell Children's Hospital are forcing them to reschedule any elective surgeries.
In Cedar Park, a water leak shut down the Baylor Scott & White Emergency Medical Center. They call the closure temporary, hoping to quickly fix the leak. All other Austin area clinics remain open.
Ted Cruz under fire for leaving Texas during this winter weather emergency. Political analysts explain that decision could have some long-lasting consequences. After first defending his decision to fly to Cancun in an exclusive interview with KTRK TV in Houston, Texas Senator Ted Cruz now calls that trip a mistake.
In hindsight, if I'd understood how it would be perceived, the reaction people would have, obviously I wouldn't have done it. It was a mistake.
Cruz left for a family vacation to Mexico yesterday. The trip included a request that Houston police assist with the departure. Originally booked to return this weekend while facing criticism, Cruz changed his plans to fly back to Houston this morning.
At the outset of the trip, I recognized that yes, I have responsibilities as a dad. That's what I was trying to take care of. But I also have responsibilities as a senator. Now, it was my intention, between phone and computer and email and Zooms, you can work remotely. That was my intention. But even so, I needed to be here. And so it was a mistake.
Elected to a federal position, Cruz doesn't have an immediate role in the response to the storm, but during natural disasters, constituents often turn to their elected officials for help finding resources.
Now, political analysts say Cruz's trip to Cancun will have long-lasting negative impacts for the senator's political future.
This could delegitimize a campaign if he's thinking about running for president in 2024. And as a consequence, they're not going to like the idea that, well, if he'd abandoned them in Texas during this crisis, what would he do to us if he's asking for our vote in 2024?
Cruz faces criticism from both Democrats and Republicans for the trip. The two-term senator's current term expires in 2025. He narrowly won re-election against Democrat Beto O'Rourke. We're back after this.
Well, coming up tomorrow at CBS Austin this morning, the winter storms may have moved out, but the problems they have brought have not. We'll have team coverage of the continued power outages leaving Central Texas scared and cold, plus the flooding coming from these burst pipes. Wake up ATX and join us bright and early from 4:30 to 7 a.m.
And bright and early tomorrow morning is when temperatures will be in the teens, a hard freeze warning in effect until 10 a.m. We thaw out tomorrow, lots of sunshine up to 40, but then we drop back down to around 20 degrees early Saturday before the big meltdown happens this upcoming weekend. Right now, I am concerned that if that meltdown is too fast, we could find ourselves with some flooding issues, with ice dams, and with even more pipe problems.
Thanks, Chicago.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.